Sorry I kept you waiting forever and a day, but now we're out here together with nothing standing in our way. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Like electricity. Taking over your body, it's flowing through your mind. This feeling's got me on fire. Don't ever leave it all behind. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love. Can you feel me? Ooh, can you feel me?
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear.
And his name is John C.
I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
I fell and lost to the war, shot me dead. I was lost and sad to the voices in my head. I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. Giving up again. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up Look into my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my lies. Love is far to come. Your love is far. Running at the speed of light, kissing every city lights. Calls me in this morning time, but it just goes on. Running at the speed of light, kissing every city lights. Calls me in this morning time, but it just goes on. Gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I'm gonna get
Okay, okay.
get up. I'm gonna get gonna get up
What is going on, traders? How are we doing tonight? Welcome. Kung Fu Panda type music. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show, Trader Spotlight. We've got Hugh Henny coming back on tonight. Chicken is in the oven. Nice. Let's go. I think this light is a bit bright. All right, we good. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Come on in, traders. How are we doing this evening? Happy hump day. Okay. Welcome. Tonight we've got Hugh coming on the show. We're going to be going over day and swing trading styles, current styles that are working and not working in the market, and just general strategy, as well as doing the live Q&A and see where Hugh's been since he's been on the stream, dude. It's been so long. He was like my first big guest on Trader Spotlight, so this is really, really cool. Very exciting for me, very good for the show. And without any further ado, actually, let me show you his Twitter real first in Trader Spotlight style, although I'm pretty sure you know who the legend is, okay? Let me just show you guys here. Pop this up. Bam! There he is, Mr. Hugh Henny, not half verified. Let's go. PGIR host. Check out the show if you haven't. You absolutely love to see it. All right, guys, we're going to hop into Discord here and start the voice chat. Let me just switch my playlist over to some lo-fi and get things nice and comfortable. Okay, everybody? All right, I'm going to have to set up my camera real quick while we do this. So here he is, the man, the legend, Hugh Henny. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
What's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm really good, man. It's good to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely, of course. It's been forever. Before we get too much into it, let me set up the webcam first here, and we'll do that in the Discord. I just got to change it over here. Perfect. Bam! What's good?
Thanks for having me. Like I said, it's good to see you.
Of course. No, so this is cool. We didn't get to do this last time, so I'm excited to do the face cam. That's neat. Welcome.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, man. Hey, nice haircut. Okay.
Thanks, bro. I got it just for tonight, man.
Yeah, of course. Me too. No, I'm a mess, dude, but it's all good. How you been, man? It's been so long. How you been since, last time we talked? What's new? What's good?
Yeah, I think the last time that we talked, life was really busy.
Yeah.
And I think I needed to take a little bit of a before I actually hit that burnout wall.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to take it. And actually, honestly, the market did it for me as well, because the market volatility just got sucked out.
Right.
I guess around December. And so it was a perfect time for me to kind of scale back on like the 16, 20-hour days. And so I've been enjoying life a little bit. I was in Aruba with the family.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm working on my pilot's license, actually.
What? Are you really? No way.
Yeah. So it's a funny story. My mom actually got me flying lessons got me, her, and my sister flying lessons for Christmas. And
right.
I hate heights, so I was like, bro, I'm not going up in that little ass plane. Like, you're not catching me up there. I ended up going up and ended up loving it.
Right.
And I just loved it. So I was like, all right, like fuck it, like I'm gonna get my license. So I've been working on that.
That's sick, man. The last time I was I've actually never been on like a commercial flight before. Never. But
what, really?
Yeah, never, man. I'm 27 and I've never been on a flight. The only plane I've been on was this like little 4-seater plane. And he flew us over, like, at the time I was living with my parents, so he flew us like over our house. And then it was so cool. But I remember when we landed, he's like, "Oh, that's funny," and he's looking at the key, and I'm like, "What? don't do that." And he's like, "This is the wrong key. It's not even for this plane." And I was like, "What the fuck, dude? What is that?"
It's actually really funny. The I don't want to say the lack of rules, but But I really just like, obviously there's restricted airspace and stuff, but it's kind of like I live up near the city, and one day I'm like flying, actually like 2 weeks ago, I'm flying by my apartment, and I look on like the my little app thing, and it's like a little Cessna is like 200 feet away. I'm like, where the hell is this guy at? I look over my right wing, homie's like right there. Like I can see like the white of his eyes. I'm like, nobody has like rules about this.
What the hell? He's waving at you. He's like, hey.
Yeah, like that's literally how it is. I'm like, there's really like no rules about it. Nah, like you just don't want to hit each other. I'm like, no shit. I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's really funny. It's like once you get into the air, it's kind of like you have like parameters. But,
right.
Yeah, it's like a free for all. Other than that. So I've really been enjoying that. Really, like a lot.
Man. That's awesome. And how's things going with PGIR and with Dan and all that stuff? It's all good.
Yeah, PGR is really fun. It's
Hell yeah.
it's really become part of my schedule now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously, it's part of my schedule. Which when we started this, it really wasn't. And it's wild because I actually got called out for it. It was my birthday in December, and the podcast still says that I'm 21. Like
really?
Bio. Yeah, it still says I'm 21, which actually now that I think about it, like we still haven't changed it. But someone was like, dude, like you're 23 now. Like that was 2 years ago, and I was like, whoa,
wow,
like,
yeah,
time is flying.
That's crazy, man. What a cool project, and that's just like taking off for you guys. That's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool, and the even crazier thing is that like I really hated social media before before Fint. Yeah, like I really didn't vibe with it. Like I mean, respectfully, I really didn't care what other people were doing.
Yeah.
Or like about like celebrities. Actually, I care about the Will Smith thing. But other than that, like
crazy,
I really like,
bro.
Yeah, like other than that though, like I don't care what celebrity's banging what celebrity. Like it's just never my thing. So yeah, so then when this podcast started blowing up and like FinTwit started to blow up and stuff, it was like, yo, dude, like you gotta start like being on your phone a lot. And I was like, oh shit, like really?
Yeah.
So that was a big adjustment for me. But it's just been really cool.
That's crazy, man. How long did it take you to? Because how many followers you had? Like 220,000 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
How long did that take to do to like get that many?
Well, so I had the account. I've had the account for a long time.
Okay.
I was stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but I was inside like the 5 to 15K range for a pretty long time.
Gotcha.
And then there was like that COVID and I was getting like 1,000 followers a day for
crazy.
Like months.
Yeah,
like it truly was like months, like 1,000. Like every time that I would go on, like I still have my Twitter notifications off, but for a long time there, it was like 1,000 followers a day. It's definitely slowed. In fact, I think I've lost. I think because Twitter started like banning bots and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think like 3 or 4 years really. I've been like active.
No, that's cool because like I think you're kind of in like an influencer sort of position, and so I'd like to kind of dive into that a little bit because that's pretty interesting. I'm doing the whole Twitch thing now, which has been a lot of fun. But yeah, let's get into the market a little bit. So when things started to slow down for you and the volume kind of got pulled, did you kind of transition to options trading like everybody else seemed to, options day trading? Or
yes and no.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes and no, and I'll go into it. So yes, in the sense that I definitely played more large caps.
Okay.
But it wasn't like I was creating new strategies. Like I've always been like the type of trader to where like swing trading has always been my let me compound the gains kind of thing.
Right.
But I've always had like I want to say like probably 3 or 4. Maybe even 5 strategies that I feel confident enough that I can go to. And typically during the summer, I would use like more of like the large, when small caps were dead, I would use the large cap, strategy. Okay. And so that's really what it came down to. Typically for me, it takes, typically I'm like kind of late to the game when it comes to adapting. Like I typically need to get punched in the face for it to be like, oh, like this isn't working right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's
it's not over yet. I'm not leaving.
That's literally how it is. And then I take like a big loss and I'm like, oh, like what the hell is going on here? Yeah, and then I go back on like my last like month and I'm like, oh shit, like this hasn't worked for a little bit. So yeah, and so I will say that I definitely did more options than typical.
Okay.
But that just goes hand in hand with kind of like the large cap strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And so were you able to bring anything over from small caps to large caps when you had to kind of transition?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Because so I actually like trading large caps a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but typically I find more edge inside the small caps because
Okay.
there's not so much data out there. And
Right.
what I mean by that is that I can take a company and there's not like they're like the CEO. Okay, let's take like Apple for instance.
Sure.
If Apple's main supplier, like their CEO,
Yeah.
has a scandal, that's going to affect Apple if that comes out. Typically with small caps, that's things like that don't typically like affect the stock that much, and it sometimes it won't even become news because nobody cares.
Right.
So to me, it's one of those things where I can usually capture most of the data and most of the information that's out to the public. I can capture that and I can take that in, and then I feel that gives me edge. But with trading large caps, especially if I'm swinging, even though the moves are more fluid because they're it takes a lot more volume, and they don't they're not going to be manipulated by someone buys $2 million worth of Apple. It's not gonna matter.
Right.
But if somebody buys $2 million worth of a $1 billion company,
Sure.
that's going to be that's going to set scanners off.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that's part of the reason. But as far as bringing stuff over, I trust the charts more on large caps than I typically do on small caps.
Right.
So that's typically what I do is that I just play the charts a lot cleaner when I'm trading large caps.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because it's interesting. I'm trading a lot with Maple Stacks recently.
Oh, he's great.
Oh, bro, he's the best, man. I've been
Yeah.
trading really, really close with him in his Discord, and he's been kind of mentoring me as well as everybody else in his room. And he kind of brought his small cap strategy directly over to large caps, and it's working really, really well for him. And I've adapted a lot of that. And so I just kind of wanted to see your take on it and kind of how you had to adapt. And as far as where we are right now, I feel like we're kind of in like sort of a gray area where like small caps are kind of back, but still a lot of people are in large caps, and everybody's kind of, I don't know. What do you think the general sentiment is right now between large caps and small caps and FinTwit, and what the hell's going on?
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of, as far as FinTwit goes, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen right now.
Yeah, man, there is.
Yeah, and that's and that's fine. Like whatever
is, yeah.
grows, whatever grows the community.
Right.
I just think it's cool. Like even if, I mean, I don't think like necessarily everybody on FinTwit makes crazy money, and that's even is profitable, and even
Right.
like I mean, I don't have profitable months. Like you're nuts if you can go years being fully profitable. That's sick, good for you.
Yeah,
But I just think like in general, just the education is so cool. Like just bringing in people and those people being educated, I think is awesome. Like you don't even need to necessarily be a trader.
Right.
There's just so much information and so much knowledge that you'll get on FinTwit that like you really don't get anywhere else. Like one of the examples I typically use is when COVID hit, my mom was like, we should buy Clorox.
Okay.
And I was like, Mom, like I understand the thesis, but it trading, like there's a little bit more that goes into it. And then it's like, now that she kind of opened up an account and is messing with a few bucks, she's like, oh, like she's learning like what float is. She's learning like short interest data, like earnings reports, stuff like that I think typically like the average investor, like the average person just doesn't really think goes into the market. So I think
Right.
anything involving education is super
man.
cool.
100%. And one thing, like obviously the big discussion right now is like these paid rooms, like they're everywhere and people think all kinds of crazy things about them. For me, I think they're pretty dope, bro. Like I think they're pretty fucking dope because if you really like a trader, how they trade, their style, what you see out on FinTwit, now you have the opportunity to really have that one-on-one with them, which you might have not normally been able to have, right? I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, so I used to, I'm gonna, fine. I'm gonna expose myself.
Let's
a
get
little
into
bit
it.
here. Yeah, I mean, I used to hate on paid rooms. Like,
Okay.
I used to.
I think
I
everybody
used,
did. Yeah.
yeah. Like, I used to really hate on paid rooms. And that was because I think, at the time, the paid rooms that I would see, were typically rooms where it was like, buy my course,
Oh,
$15,000.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and so that's typically why I think that at that time I really hated paid courses. And honestly, like, I thought about deleting those tweets because I don't feel that way anymore. But that was like, no, like, I said it, like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna own it,
yeah.
But I also don't want that perception still out there. So I'm happy
Right.
that you asked that, because I really do think that to your point, like, I of course there's always going to be paid rooms there that are nonsense, but I think individuals who go out there and are willing to put in the time and the effort, they should be compensated for their time. And I think that's special. And especially, like, if you created a strategy and that's proprietary to you and to your system, you should be compensated.
Yeah.
If you're going to openly give that up.
Yeah, man. It's like, it's a lot of work too. Like, I don't know. My follower count's been kind of slowing down. And I'm like, man, what are people looking for these days? People are looking for like call outs and like all kinds of crazy stuff that I don't really have the time for, because I still do work full time as well. So I'm like, man, like, bro, it is a ton of time that you have to put into these rooms, and like, even running a Discord is like so fucking hard, and there's so much legwork for it, man. Like, it's crazy.
Dude, 100%. Yeah. So, like, I know, like, me myself, like, I'm a total hypocrite. Like I said, I was against, and like, I'll be honest, like, I think, like, warrior trading, like, I don't like that dude. I think like $15,000 for a course is ridiculous, and
That's crazy.
I've seen his courses, and I think
15,000.
Yeah, I think there's
Holy
a
shit.
few of his courses. I don't know. I haven't looked in years.
Okay.
Truthfully, I haven't looked in years. But it when I did look, let's call it 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, dude, like, you can find all this information on YouTube. Like this isn't anything special.
Right.
And so now it's one of those things where I think it just comes down to the effort that the creator or whoever's putting into it, and the other thing, I think, like, there should be like a good balance, like a good balance between education. If you're into alerts, that's fine. But I think that the one thing is that I just think it has to be worth it. Like, I don't like when it's like, when I see someone making millions of dollars and they're trading with like 10 grand. Like, that doesn't. How are you supposed to relate to the person whose sole income is trading?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, you
can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. And I think another good point too that kind of changed the paid rooms for me too is, I was in like 4 of them for the longest time. I think, like, in my opinion, you should really just focus in on one of them and try to just stick to one. And it goes the same thing with like trading strategies. You have to, like, I think a lot of newer traders, they see the next shiny thing and they jump to it. And I think you really need to stick to your strategy and really nail something down concrete, and then you can kind of tweak it. But you always want to be tweaking, not sort of jumping around. And so after I kind of I decided I really like the way Maple Stacks trades. I'm going to zone in on that. And bro, it changed things for me 100%.
Yeah, and like, I am in paid rooms. Like, I like to keep, because even some of the paid rooms I'm in, like, they really help me out.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
especially, so I think it's really cool. I like the evolution. I do think that there's a lot of is it cooks or chefs in the kitchen? I'm not sure. But
right.
But I still think that that's okay, because that's okay. And listen, at the end of the day, let me put it this way: if you're gonna pay $250 a month to be inside a room, and that room's gonna at least educate you, even if you don't make any money, even if it's not an options alert, or even if it's not like a equities alert, no alert, and it's just education for $250 a month. I mean, that's what most people spend on coffee every month. So like, like, at the end of the day, like, I think that's totally cool. I think it's like, when you get into like those really high price tags, that's where I start to have like an issue with it,
Yeah, no, definitely, man. 100%. Let's gear back towards your trading and kind of what you're doing intraday. What does a normal day look like for you if you dedicate it to trading? I know you're very busy and have a lot going on, but if you just like dedicate a whole day to trading, what's that look like as far as like in the morning when you're getting up, scanning, when you get up at 3 a.m. or whatever you get up?
Yeah. So I really was doing. I mean, I was doing the 3 a.m.s.
That's crazy.
But I really stepped away from that just because. I mean, I look like shit, honestly, when I do that. Like I'm not well rested.
Yeah, of
I
course.
get bags in my eyes. Like I know that I'm moody.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we're younger dudes, so it's one of those things where like I'm not I would go to bed at 8:30, but then it's like, you got a meeting with the West Coast, at 6 p.m. their time, it's 9 p.m. over here. So then I'm not getting to bed until like 10:30. So then that means you know what I mean? And then it's I'm really not getting to bed till 11. Now I'm only getting 4 hours sleep, and then I got to trade all day. So then that mental fortitude kicks in. So now I totally try and keep it to like 5 or 6. And I really do enjoy my mornings. The one thing that I loved about waking up at 3 was the fact that nobody was up. And if the market starts to heat up again, and like I think I'm kind of getting like the itch now that I'm back from traveling again. I'm kind of getting like the itch to kind of really push it.
Oh, for sure.
Then I'll start that back up. And I'll start that back up because I enjoy the schedule of it typically would be wake up at 3, typically 3:30. Then I, kind of sit down, have a cup of tea. I check out the news, really see what's moving across in other markets. And then I would typically go out and take a walk for about an hour and a half just to clear my mind and just get ready for the day. Because typically I field about 300 to 400 text messages a day.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that because of like the podcast and stuff, or what's that about? Or you don't have to say either. It's up to you.
No, it's everything. I mean, the podcast. I when I was just Hugh and I wasn't, Mitch. Which was well into college. Nobody knew what I was doing except like a few friends.
Right.
But now it's like, hey, like and it's fine. Like I'm happy to answer any questions from people that I grew up with and stuff. But it can be overwhelming. So I take that time to really just like nobody's up. Like that's when I have phone calls with like my manager, like at like 4:30 in the morning, because it's time that for me that I can just focus and sit down, and then I come back and I check out everything that I was looking at earlier to see what's still on like the watch list, basically. Like what can still be in play, or did any other news come out? And then I'm typically at the desk around 7. And I really don't typically leave until 12:30. If I try to get a nap in. But
of course. Actually, full transparency, I had a nap right before this, and I woke up. It was like 6. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. No, so I really try to get a nap in every day, just because how it is, the mental fortitude 100%. That it takes to really just look at the screens all day every day. It's not easy. And so I've really found that, honestly, like that gives me edge, especially going into the latter part of the day.
Right.
And so that's typically what I do. And then nice. I finish up. And then at night I pretty much that's when it switches from trading to more business stuff. And that's when I typically take meetings, and we record the podcast, and trying to have a social life, stuff like that.
Yeah. Screw social lives, No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Bro, it do be like that. But so with your like, how are you scanning for stocks in the morning? Do you have trade ideas, or what are you using for that?
Yeah, honestly, I plan to cancel trade ideas.
I heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah, I've been meaning to, and I think actually I might be getting charged tomorrow for the year. Honestly.
How much is it for the year? Like $5,000, $6,000?
Yeah. No, it is. So like I actually hang on, time out.
Let me just cancel that.
Because also I won't remember. Like,
oh, of course, yeah. No, go ahead.
The guys that work for me, like, no, like last night I was supposed to pay everybody.
Okay.
Like I was like, yo, if I don't remember like 55 minutes, like, text me or whatever.
Yeah.
Totally forgot.
Oh my
Totally
God.
forgot.
Yeah. No. Hey, man, that's how it is. Like when you're busy like that and you're running, like I know you're in Atlas Trading at the podcast, and I'm sure you have side businesses too. It can be a lot.
Yeah. So typically I'm scanning for a few different things. I want to see what the top gainers are on the day. Obviously whatever swings I'm in, I'm looking at stuff like that. And then I'm also looking at stuff that's breaking out on the bigger time frames.
Okay.
So, a yearly chart, all-time highs, stuff like that. And then of course earnings season is really important too.
Yeah.
Because there's so many big moves that happen. So it's typically like I've always been more of a fundamental trader. And so even if something's gapping up, I typically want to see why it's gapping up, especially during like what we're currently in, earnings season coming up. So I typically want to see, why it's gapping up. It's not, I don't necessarily just play the charts. And so I'm pretty much scanning for news, stuff breaking all-time highs, top gainers, top losers, just kind of getting like a feel for what everything's doing today.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like also on that trade idea saying like there's so many like cheaper or even free platforms that kind of do the same thing now. So I mean there's a lot out there to use.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like I just use Webull and I just set up Webull for free.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many different ones out there. Yeah. I know like True Trading Group, which I'm a part of as well. They do they have a I'm totally messing this up. They have a connecting partner with I think it's like Unusual Whales and
cool.
scans and stuff. Yeah, so like you get that with the membership. So it's like little stuff like that makes the difference, and so that you don't need like trade ideas and stuff.
Yeah, totally. We do have a question for you from chat. It's from Bunkus. Thank you for the question there. Are you canceling your subscription right now? I want to make sure you do that.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it after.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, the question is going to be, what did Hugh study in college, and how has that helped him, if at all, in his trading?
So I studied finance. Okay. I was an econ major, and then I went to finance and taxes. Tax, probably the biggest thing was taxes, and then really just I think it's important I wouldn't necessarily. I'm gonna walk a careful line here. I wouldn't necessarily say the studies was something that helped me, but when I would listen to speakers and stuff and listen to what they're talking about and get to connect with them, that's typically where I learned the most. Was like hearing real world experiences. You know what I mean? Like that's typically where I got the most out of it. Now, of course, like, learning about like what a 10K was and, learning like, what cash burn was, that was important. And it definitely, obviously gave me, let me lily pad, jump.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily think that like, you have to go into finance to be a trader. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I took water quality and here I am.
No way, really?
Yeah, I'm licensed to treat water for the city. It's really interesting, honestly. I don't think people know that these plants exist, but it's pretty dope looking.
That's really cool.
Yeah, man.
That's really cool.
It's something that you'll never see because they hide them. Like it'll look like a forest, but then like it's just like two lines of trees behind that. There's like a massive, like the size of like 2 football fields, and it's all these tanks and like buildings, and you would never guess that they're there.
That's so cool.
If you actually,
that's yeah.
No, sorry, I was just gonna say, if you look at any map and you kind of zoom in, you'll start to see them. You can pick them out because they're like these little circles, like on the edge of New York City or whatever, and they're always right by water because they discharge into the lakes and stuff. So
I was just gonna say that I live where I live in Hoboken, right across from New York City.
Okay.
I live like right next to the plant or whatever.
No way.
Not like right next, but pretty close. Yeah.
Oh, that's
like
dope.
Yeah,
man.
I walk by it pretty often.
No, that's sick. Yeah, so I tell people I treat water. I actually treat wastewater, so I put up with shit all day. But
that's so funny, bro. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, so I definitely think that just to clarify, I think finance is really cool and really important, and I loved studying business.
Yeah.
But I was always like the type of kid that like needed the hands-on more experience rather than like the writing down index cards and writing down definitions. Like I always got the most out of hearing, like why, what was the worst deal that you've ever done, from like a M&A guy, or, where what's the most common mistake that, junior analysts make, like little things like that. Like that's where I truly was like, oh, okay.
Right. No, I got you. So, like, I think we both kind of have, like, that entrepreneurial kind of mindset. How do you think that's helped in your trading? So I think that's kind of a valuable thing to have.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is definitely mindset.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from the mindset because the one thing that I think is underestimated when you come into trading, and obviously it's, it seems so simple and like no shit, Mitch. But when you have a steady income, you can really like budget.
Right.
Like you can budget down to the cent.
Yep.
In trading, it's never like that, obviously.
Right.
And I think that like we say it out loud, we're like, yeah, duh, okay. But when you're actually in it and you're actually going through it, it's totally different. So I think like same thing like running a business. Good months versus bad months, it's totally different. And so that's where I think that the mindset comes from. And also that, it's just different. Like doing your taxes for the business,
right.
Like it's just different.
Yeah.
Like I really don't know how to say it other than it really is.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But instead of like just handing in like a W-2 or like a 1099, you're writing the 1099s out. You're doing your expenses summaries. So I think it's like it's just different. And then like I said, is that obviously I don't have kids, but having that kind of financial security of knowing that even if you make below the medium average, that you're getting that every month. And so, for instance, like February, I had a down month, and like that's kind of a lot to like take in, knowing that like you worked 30 days or 31 days, whatever it was, and you didn't make, and not only did you not even make any progress,
right?
You backtracked, and so I think like that's pretty tough to swallow once you're like in it.
Okay, yeah, no, I hear that.
Yeah.
So I actually was going to back like I was like 22 at the time, and I was gonna start a business, and I want to pitch it to you and see if you like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. I'm really honest though.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So at the time I was a produce manager at a grocery store, and so I was like into numbers and like watching my shrink numbers and I kind of like a living inventory that was dying constantly, obviously. So you got to keep that in track, and there's a lot going on like the backside.
Wow, yeah, that's intense.
It actually is really intense, and they're severely underpaid, those guys. So shout outs to the produce managers out there.
Yeah.
So me and the general manager, we both wanted to quit our jobs because we were really underpaid. And so we were constantly bouncing ideas off each other. And so I'm also a musician. And so I thought like, okay, I'd like to do something with that. But what could I do? Like, I don't want to open like a music store. Because I don't know if like, I feel like there's a lot of work there. And so what I wanted to do kind of like a combo of like a music store and like a cafe. So I wanted to open like a music cafe, and I was going to pick like a university town, and I was going to stick it in there somewhere, a nice study area. And essentially, so here's the vision. Okay. Picture this.
Okay.
You come in big, like just square, big room. Over to the right side, you've got your lifted area. Okay. With like nice railings there, little stairs up to it, some greenery like vines and stuff, and that's your cafe over to the right side, right? And then you have all your like selection of coffees, you got like some pastries and stuff in the case, and that's your cafe area. And I was gonna my plan was to get a liquor license and to offer Bailey's drinks, as well as like maybe get into like weed brownies and stuff, because I'm in Canada and that's okay here. And then the middle of the store was going to be like a small sort of retail music selection area. So I was going to get into retail a little bit, have a few aisles like to my shoulder sort of thing, so you could see over them from the cafe, right? And then at the other side, I wanted to have another lifted platform, wall of guitars behind it, a couple speakers, and that was going to be a small stage for like acoustic performances. And like I could do that like Friday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday nights. Nothing electric, like no crazy like distortion guitar, but like nice acoustic performances and get that kind of atmosphere. And that was kind of the vision. I did like a 15-page business plan, and I needed like $70,000, but I was making like $40,000 a year. I even went to the bank and everything. But in general, what do you think?
Yeah. So first off, I want to preface it with I truly don't. I think that any business has the potential to work. Like I've never. There's very few times when I hear something I'm like, oh, like that's not gonna work. And I think like when I think about like the vision that you just told me about, it brings me back to a quote. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
And so it kind of reminds me of like when internet was just being, when internet was just being created, coffee shops would have, I mean, you and I don't really remember this, but when coffee shops would have free Wi-Fi, you know, that was the way to kind of get customers in there.
Right.
And so similarly, I think it's like one of those things where it's like, you're a little different and you're offering something unique. And so for like the population that wants a coffee and also kind of wants like a cool spot to kind of hang out, and and the musicians is just like a plus,
right?
Right. And so I think like it's really cool, and I think it really comes down, like any business, it comes down to your inflows and your outflows. And I think that but I think that there's potential there because, like I said, you're unique. I think the college town is a great idea, and like I said, I think that if you build it, they will come and offer something, really cool, like for instance, offering it to like the band students, offering a discount or something, to get them in the door, something like that. I think, I think because once you get that, inflow coming, then it's like it really just that all college kids, how many college kids, I would say like 85% probably stop for a coffee every day, so if you can just become that main, or not even that main, if you could just take some of that market share,
sure.
And I think that how you do that is by offering discounts to the musicians,
the students too.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So I think like, I think it's a really cool idea.
Let's
and
go.
It's a hangout spot for Thursday or Friday, Thursday night, Friday night. You know what I mean? And so, especially 70,000 sounds like not a huge not a huge startup cost, I think no, go ahead. I was just going to say that I think just when I'm thinking about stuff, what's the worst case scenario? Like the worst case scenario is that you work for 2-3 years to pay it back. Like you lose it all.
Right.
And you work for 2 to 3 years. But if it works out, you're living your dream.
You're laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I forgot to tell you the name.
Yeah.
The name was actually going to be a part of the acoustic guitar, and it was going to be called The Sound Hole.
Oh, I think that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Like and I like your vision of like the ivy.
Yeah. It's kind of like a cozy little like hole in the wall sort of cafe, right? Also sounds a bit sexual, which I think is funny. I think it's perfect. But
anyway. Honestly, I think that I really think it's cool.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to see like business Hugh for a second, so that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
sweet. There's another question coming in chat. So In Person wants to know, in the Houston group of Dan, Zach, and Tommy Coops and those guys, who do you think is the funniest?
Who do I think is the funniest? All the guys are pretty funny, I would say, in like their own way. I would say, like all the guys are pretty funny. It's funny because I always say that Dan and I would never be friends. Would never be friends if we didn't meet through FinTwit. Like I surely if we met in high school, I would not. Dan and I would not be friends.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think everybody's kind of funny inside their own little way.
Yeah.
But I really, honestly, let me say, if I like had to choose, honestly, probably Dave Schmidt. Dave Schmidt is
okay.
is Dave Schmidt's like one of the like he'll just throw some shit out in like the middle of dinner, and you'll be like,
What the?
like everybody will just break out, and it's like it's not like Dave doesn't talk all the by far the most. Like, you know, Dave's always just chilling, but then he'll just throw out like
I
something
love
like
that. Just
Yeah,
curveballs, just out of
just
nowhere.
curveballs out of nowhere.
Another question from chat from Jonah. How long did it take Hugh to form a profitable, consistent strategy?
Oh, years.
Okay.
Years. So I will say though, my journey was I took the long journey. I took the long journey. I took the long journey by far. I don't think that by no means it takes most traders three years to form a profitable strategy. But I was just immature and young and trying to make quick cash. That's really what it came down to. So I really crossed off like all the shit that you shouldn't do up front.
Right.
And then worked my way back, and like, okay, like something's got to change here. So I would say it took me about 3.5 years to truly become profitable and kind of find my way. The average, I would say though, probably 2 years. Like if you could, I feel like two years of grind and hard work is it probably you start to get the hang of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a solid answer. So Bungus wants to follow up on that question. What about transitioning from a normal job to full-time trading? I feel like that's one of the most difficult things for most people to wrap their heads around. What are your kind of thoughts on that? I don't know if you had that experience or not. I'm doing it right now. I'm trading from work. I have my own strategy for that, but I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts.
Yeah. So the first thing is going to be, and we kind of touched on it earlier, when you're making the transition, especially if you have a family, I mean, that like security blanket's just gone. Right. So when it's like, hey, I'm losing $50 while at work, it's like, okay, I lost, let's just say 3 hours worth of work, or that's totally off. But so I'm just saying, like, you lost a few hours worth of work.
Sure.
When you lose $50 and you don't have that security blanket, it's like,
that's dinner.
Shit. Yeah, exactly. That's dinner. So now it's not. Now you're not eating into profit. You're now taking away from something.
Right.
So the biggest thing that I typically say is similar to like how your financial advisor tells you to have 6 to 12 months of current expenses. Okay. I would have that saved up, and then I would also have a large enough account to where if you make, like, let's just say 5% or 10% in a month, like that replaces your income.
Okay.
Because it to me, typically, one of the biggest things that I typically see is that it's like, okay, if I do 20% a month, like, I'll be good. And that's so crazy. I mean, listen, that's sick and that's awesome, but that's really hard to keep up. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where, I typically I don't go this route, but shoot for the stars and catch the clouds, or whatever the hell the saying is. I totally fucked that up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, totally expect to make absolutely nothing on the account, and if you can live off of that, good. Right. And like I said, 12 months of expenses like saved away. That's typically, and then when you make the transition, it can be really from what I found is that it can be really easy to similar to like my naps. Like, it can be like, today I didn't take a nap because I was in a trade. Right. But it's like, okay, what's this nap worth to me? And at the time today, it was like, this nap's worth like a few bucks, so I'm gonna skip it. But it's one of those things where once you have that freedom and you're not like taking random meetings, it can be really easy to sway off of the path. Right. So it's one of those things where, you got to stick to that routine. Like, you got to be all in, because if not, like, it is really easy to stray. I mean, I like myself included, like, it is really easy to stray away. So that would be the transition from like the one side of it. Okay. And then the other side of it that I actually found was that when I was doing college when I was in college, keeping me busy helped me swing trade, because I couldn't be in front of the computer all day. Right. I couldn't micromanage the position. So I think that if you're used to usually trading maybe let's just call it like the first hour of the day, and then going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you're in front of the screens all day, you're going to be, at least for myself, I found myself being so tempted to want to trade everything that crossed my line and everything that popped up on my scanner. And so I think like that self-control, that the self-control aspect, again, in my experience, is also another thing that's just so unexpected.
Right. Yeah, and just waiting for that that setup that you nail every time, right? Because even if it's you think it's a really rare setup, but you're really good at it, you'd be surprised how not rare it is and how often it comes up if you just have that patience, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is that not losing money, obviously we want to make money, but then the biggest thing is protecting that capital.
Yeah. So as far as making that transition from working to trading, what is your stance on debt, and should it be paid off? Should it not be paid off? Because I kind of asked that on Twitter a while ago, and I actually got mixed results from it. So some people said like, no, trading helped me pay off my debt, but then other people said, oh no, I had to get rid of all my debt, so I wasn't thinking emotionally. And what's your kind of opinion on that?
Yeah, so I typically tell 99% of the population to pay off that debt. Now I don't necessarily like include like a mortgage or anything, but that like crazy crippling debt. Like I think that if you're trying to trade to pay down debt, I don't think that's a good idea.
Right.
If you're trying to trade to replace income and you have a mortgage or you have a car payment, I think that that's okay.
Right.
And again, I think it really, really, really comes down to who you are.
Right.
Like I know for myself, I know for myself, I'm actually worried. Like there was a big transition for me when I bought a business and I had a business loan, and
Right.
it was something where the numbers made sense. Like it was all great, all dandy. But even just like having that in the back of my head was a little bit of a strain mentally, and so that was something that I had to get used to. So I think it really depends on yourself. But like I said, the rule of thumb that I typically would use is that if you're trading to pay down debt, you're not doing it for the right reasons. If you're trading to replace income and a mortgage or something is in there, I think that's okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of on the same page with that. I just wanted to hear your opinions, and so I thought it was kind of an interesting topic to cover. So as far as what you're seeing on like FinTwit and speaking to all these traders, what are some really, really common mistakes you're seeing that you could kind of give some tips or pointers on to correct? What's the most common mistakes you're seeing right now?
Well, the biggest thing that I would say is that I don't think, and I even include myself, I think trading got really sloppy for the past like 20 months.
Right.
Like, and myself totally included. Trading got really sloppy because moves were happening so much longer, and I mean to the short side, I mean to the long side. They were happening. They were so extended, and the fact that the news really was coining like stocks only go up and stuff is so funny to me. But that's really what it was. Like stocks only go up. So for me personally, it feels like trading got really sloppy, and recently it's really felt like people were expecting those bigger moves to continue to happen, not taking those gains, and also not really having like a clear strategy. I think I think that what I've noticed a lot in the question that I like to ask is, can you replicate this no matter if you change the symbol, and do you look for the same like 5 or 6 things in every chart or everything, like stuff like that, like if you can say, yes, I look for the same 4 or 5 things, and this is and every stock that I go into, I know that this is my risk and this is my take profit, and this is my plan, then I think that that's great. But if you can't answer those questions, I think that you're probably a pretty sloppy trader. And that's what I've been seeing a lot, like I said, myself included, because it really, I don't want to say it was easy, but it really was easy to let, just hold stocks,
Right.
everything was going.
Yeah.
1,000, 2,000%.
100%. It was buy high, sell higher, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Exactly.
Yeah, man. Question chat. This is an interesting one. If you could only buy one stock to hold for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay. First off, stock picking is a loser's game. In the past 100 years, 90 years, 4% of the stocks in the stock market made up 100% of the gains. All right, so I'll say that one more time. 100% of the gains over the last 90 years were made up from 4% of the stocks. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. So unless you believe that you are 90, listen, which, congratulations. And if you were holding Tesla, Apple, Amazon, you're a beast. But let's take Yahoo. I mean, listen, people rode Yahoo down to nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like a real thing.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I will preface that with that, but I really feel like I don't want to be that guy, but I really think that Disney, Apple, I really think that like those are the stocks that, in the 80s and the 90s, there was no Apple. Apple has so much cash. They can literally they can pivot into any sector, any industry that they want.
That'd probably be my choice.
Yeah, they can literally, if they wanted to right now, I mean, they could. I mean, they're literally in every major sector right now. But okay, they could go into oil and gas if they wanted to. Like if they wanted to right now, they could turn around and be a front runner inside oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
So for those reasons that they have tons of cash, they're a $3 trillion company. They have this brand loyalty like nothing else. And even now, like I was reading an article that they're gonna start a subscription service. Instead of buying the phone, you're literally just gonna subscribe to the phone.
What the hell?
Yeah. So now you're not even gonna really own the phone. I don't know exactly. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I ever see, and again, this might be nuts because to get like a 300% return, it'd have to be like a $9 trillion company,
right?
Which is wild. But again, if I had asked, top hedge fund managers, 30 years ago, will we see a $3 trillion company in the next 3 decades? They probably, I would bet that a large majority would probably say no.
Gotcha. So I like this question from the Don. Where in Hugh's trading was his biggest breakthrough that ultimately led to his great success? Did you have that moment? I'm gonna lift my standing desk here real quick. One sec. I want to stand.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Yeah,
go ahead. You're good.
So the biggest thing for me was when I literally sat there, and I mean I had taken a pretty substantial loss, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like I'm literally gambling. At that moment I was like, I'm gambling right now, and I had some success. Success. I mean like success for my age. I had some success, following other people and basically gambling, and I was like, this can't be it. So I had taken most of the money out of the account and just studied, literally 6 to 8 months, just studied. I worked 2-3 jobs and just really tried to find out the secrets, if you will, and create a strategy. And that's what I consider to be the breakthrough moment, right? Because that's when I said, okay, if I continue, I want to do this for a career, but this isn't, I might as well just, go wait till I'm 21 and go bet on black.
Right. Just reading this question here. It's a long one. This is a loaded question. I don't know if you can condense this down, but what is your long-term projection of the market as a whole with the inflation as it is, with the housing market and all those kinds of things? Will it affect things like a Home Depot stock and other stocks like that? Do you feel like we will continue to see strength in indexes?
Yeah, so I've been actually pretty long the market for all-time highs. Pretty much on the podcast for the last 16 weeks, all I've been talking about is that I'm long the market and I think that we see all-time highs before we see sub 400. And it came pretty close to that thesis being wrong. But obviously the last 10 days have been wild.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just been wild. And so I'm pretty bullish on the market. There's a few reasons. One, I think that the Ukraine and Russia the conflict it really took a lot of money from Europe, and that money was looking for a place. And I think what we're going to see when the outflow and the inflow numbers come in from the different indexes across different markets is that there's I think that that U.S. equities actually become a safe haven for people that outflowed from the European markets.
Right.
And so the liquidity that basically the Fed was saying that they were going to tighten, I think will actually be or is being replaced by European equities. And as far as inflation goes, so this is an interesting topic because I totally don't want to be the dude that like there's so many chefs in the kitchen. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt because it's just my opinion.
Of course.
But when I look at different data points, there's two things that I take from the last Fed meeting. One being that similar to when inflation starts, it's very hard to stop. Once you cross that threshold, it's kind of like a barrel down a hill. It's really hard to stop. That being said, though, once you curve inflation, rarely do you ever see it uptick to new highs during that cycle. So I'll be really interested to see at the next inflation reading that if inflation is in fact lower, then that will be really telling for the market. And that being said, though, the Fed I think said that they want inflation down to 3.5% by the end of this year, somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
Somewhere around there. I don't. In the same token, I'm saying I think that we're in a relatively good spot. I don't expect inflation to go higher. At the same time, I think that's a load of bullshit, respectfully. That would be the lowest. That would be the quickest 50% drawdown in inflation that we've ever seen. Because like I said, is that same thing. It happens really slow. Once you curve it, it's usually curved, but it's a slow process. Like the economy has to catch up. Right. And so for that reason, I don't see that happening. Like this is going to be like a in my opinion, like a 2-3 year thing to get under control. And so I'm bullish on the market, but just because I'm bullish on the market doesn't mean that I'm bullish on the economy. The economy, in my opinion, is in shambles. We are the Fed put more money into the market. Put more money into the market in 20 months than they did inside the existence of the market. That's wild. And the other shoe has to drop. But that being said, I still think that the market still goes higher. But around let's just say that the S&P hits 5,400 or something, right? That I'll start to reduce risk from my family's retirement accounts and stuff like that. Like that's typically my plan. Because if we get up to there, then the extension's so high, and I think that the other shoe eventually drops. Like again, it kind of like a trade. Even though I'm 60 years out or not 60 years out, even though I'm 40 years out from retirement, it'll be one of those things where I want to trade around the core. So I'll start to be more cash heavy and more defensive.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So right now we're kind of experiencing as far as intraday, day to day, almost like a kangaroo market, like these crazy moves up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
How long do you think that continues for, and do we start to cool off?
Yeah. So volatility can last a really long time.
Gotcha.
And I think a lot of it is where the overall market is. Everything really pulled back. Like everything really got smoked. The underlying, obviously the indexes, relatively speaking, the indexes really didn't see the type of drawdown that some individual names saw. And I mean, I'm not just talking like, like growth. I'm talking, your COVID names. I mean, realistically, you can look at most names outside of Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and most of those names are down a good buck. So
Right.
with that being said, I think that's really important to note, and I think that those names are starting to see a bounce back, and it'll be interesting to see when earnings start to come out because everything was trading at such a high multiple, and now that they've really seen this drawdown, if they start to trade at better multiples, and they start to trade more at key fundamental levels, then I think that's where we'll start to see some stabilization across the board.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's perfect. Question from Jonah in chat. I'm going to kind of reword it a little bit. He's asking if there's a way to contact you specifically. He's got I guess he went to school at Rice University, and he's grown a 6-figure account and wants to kind of polish up his skills. Is there a good space for him to get some mentorship? Whether I don't know if you have a paid service. I don't think you do. I haven't seen one. What would you say for him to kind of refine his skills now that he's grown up to a 6-figure account?
Yeah. So first off, congrats, dude. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
And Rice is a really great university as well. So congrats on that as well.
Represent.
But I would say I really try to answer my DMs. And so if you DM me, I'll definitely be on the lookout for it. But like I said, is that I do get contacted frequently, and I don't have a paid service. So because I really see, like, I try, I really try to be there.
Yeah.
I know. It's honestly a big complex for me.
Oh, for sure.
Because
no, I hear you, man. I hear you.
There was a time not too long ago where I would spend hours and hours at night going through DMs. Yeah. And it got super unhealthy.
It's so much, man.
Yeah, so it got super unhealthy, but like I want to do it. So now it's more of like when I can do it. And so I would say, DM me, and if I don't answer, it's not because I don't want to. The biggest thing is that I would just say, like, if I don't answer after like 2-3 weeks, then just like, hey, Hugh, just checking in on this. And that typically, so that it hits to the top or whatever, and so that I know that it's still important. Because that's typically what happens is that if I see a message again, or like, Hugh, checking on this, I'll be like, oh shit, like I missed a message,
Yeah, no, definitely. I only have 10,000 followers, and my DMs are crazy, man. It's insane. I turn them off all the time, and I'm like, I just can't, like, I can't get to them all if I don't shut it down. So I completely hear that. Totally understandable. I hope that helps, Jonah. Congratulations on your success there. Just a few more questions, Hugh, and then I think we'll wrap up. This has been great so far.
Good.
Thanks again for coming on, by the way. I truly appreciate this. This is awesome.
Dude, thanks for having me. I'm honored, man.
Yeah, no, this is fun. Got a question. Someone just popped in and said they're brand new to the stock market, complete noob. Where do they... Yeah, that's awesome. Where do they start, and how can someone enter this space with so much information and really nail down a strategy?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I would say to you is that understand that you're entering a career. And similar to I like to use like doctors. Similar to doctors, it takes doctors because the pay can be similar to a doctor. And I attribute it to a doctor, totally different, obviously. And I don't deal with people's lives. But that being said, similar to a surgeon or a doctor, it's about that craft. Like once you understand, okay, this is what you do when, similar, like if a patient comes in and this is the symptoms that they're showing, this is how I'm going to handle it. Same thing with a stock and a ticker. This is this stock, this ticker. this is what it's doing. This is how I'm going to react. This is my backup plan, etc. And you only get better with time, just like a surgeon only gets better with more experience. And
Right.
so I think that that's really important to note. So the biggest thing is going to be understand that don't expect anything to happen fast. The journey is long, but worth it. The journey is really long and worth it. And so the biggest thing that I would say is that don't go following, 1,000 different traders. I don't think that will help. The biggest thing that I would do is that, I would just follow a few and kind of ghost trade them, or kind of see like what their strategies are. You can message them, or different YouTube videos are great, and just kind of dabble,
Right.
and then you'll start to see, hey, I kind of like this strategy. I kind of like the way that this guy trades, or whoa, that guy, I'm staying away from that shit because I don't like trading 0 days, like little
Right.
things like that. You'll figure it out. Like that's the biggest thing, is that you'll figure it out. There's no one of the biggest reasons that I've never done a like a course or something, because I've thought about it, obviously, is because I don't think that I could give this is step A and this is step Z, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Unless somebody wants to trade exactly like you, but in that,
Exactly.
if that's the case, odds are it's not going to work out perfectly for them because they don't have your mindset, your personality. You know what I mean? So take it with a grain of
Exactly.
salt.
Exactly. But hey, dude, that's whoever, dude, that's super exciting. Welcome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Biggest thing is just keep your expectations super low. Like, I know that sounds terrible, but just treat this as like a learning experience first.
No, 100%. I got I guess 3 more questions. One from
Cool.
Avid Sleeper in chat. It's kind of just on the market, on the US dollar and stuff like that. If we do supply oil to Europe and so on, would that not bring more valuation to the petrodollar or USD? But I've been seeing news on other countries trying to buy oil in yuan. I don't know where that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's kind of the question.
there's a few things that I want to preface here. One, again, take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because this is totally out of my realm of expertise. Consider me a noob on this topic, but from what I've really read is that it's deeper than just who we buy oil from, because not only does it matter who we buy oil from because of different treaties and different things of that nature, but it also matters in what currency we buy it in, because so far it's always been like there's always been this like set currency, but now we're hearing different stories about how different countries want to accept different kinds of currency. Russia is making deals to only buy it in the ruble and things of that nature. So, and then of course, the U.S. has, when oil was low, the U.S. Made it a point to fill up the reserves, which is important if we start to, which I think actually tomorrow, the Congress, so tomorrow, just out today, Biden administration is weighing releasing 1 million barrels a day for 7 months. So it's one of those things where, if that is actually true, then that will kind of ease tensions, and that will kind of ease the gas prices and the oil prices as well. And then on top of that, the other thing that is you really got to take into consideration in all of this is, can the U.S. and I'm talking strictly as a U.S. citizen, can the U.S. Pent up or not pent up? Can we ramp up oil? Sorry, I'm totally messing it up here. Can we ramp up our oil? What's the word I'm looking for?
Production?
Yeah, production. Thank you. So that's another thing that's been weighed. So I think there's a lot of different moving parts going on here that needs to be taken into account when we talk about this. But the one thing that I still kind of stand firm on is that I really would be surprised if we do see oil over 150 or closer to $200 a barrel, just because we do have the reserves.
Gotcha. No, perfect answer. Thank you for the insight on that. He just wanted to see your opinion. And yeah, but so I wanted to ask you, in the background there, you got 4 screens and a desk. Is that where you do your trading, and this is kind of your business desk, or how do you have it set up?
Yeah, so this is actually my roommate.
Oh,
this is my
okay.
Yeah, so he also trades.
Okay,
So
cool.
this is my roommate, and then if you can see there,
Yeah,
okay,
that's your desk.
that is the desk to the right of me over here. And so that has 4 screens as well, and then I'm on one that has 4 screens as well. So this one I do the podcast and I do research and I keep like TweetDeck up, and then the other one is where I actually do my trading.
Okay, very cool. And what does your trading setup look like?
So it changes frequently.
Okay.
I will not lie to you. I mean, like even down to like the desk. Like I will change the desk. But currently, what I changed to last week was 3 horizontal, 1 vertical monitor.
Gotcha.
But before that, I had I had them all vertical.
Okay. And you like it better horizontal, I guess, rather than vertical? Maybe one's good?
I really,
Or you don't know?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's honestly like the flavor of the week. Yeah, it's really just the flavor of the week, for me.
Yeah,
like, I sometimes I feel, I mean, like it's really the flavor of the week for me. Like I know that some people are like really specific about it. Not me really. It's really like I'm sure that they'll be back to vertical probably by some point by the end of like Q3 or something.
Gotcha. So for some reason that triggered like a memory in my head of like a tweet you put out, and it was like, do you still have like I don't know if like this even happened, but I remember I think you put out a picture of your desk and there was like a light bulb on like some books or something underneath it.
Yeah.
Is that still there? What is that?
No. So I that was at my parents' home. That was when I lived at home. That was my trading. Yeah. Because to me it was never important. Now I definitely stepped it up. Now I definitely stepped it up. But at the time I was like, dude, I gotta compound every single. Even now, like I'm like, I gotta compound every single dollar that I make. So now I definitely did. Did spend.
Some money.
I did spend some money. But at the time, it was books and a desk, and honestly, the one vertical was on like a diagonal line. But it was my thing, you know. Like I liked it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
that's funny, man. Yeah, that's kind of all I have. Unless you want to talk about the Will Smith thing.
Listen. I like I said earlier, I really don't typically care about any celebrities or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I did end up watching, because I used to love Will Smith. I used to love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I heard he had he's always had anger issues. I don't know.
Really?
I just heard. I don't know.
So I did watch the red table thing or whatever like a few years ago.
Right.
And the one thing that always stuck with me was if my missus ever cheated on me, and then I was sitting across from her on national TV, and she called him by his nickname, and then on top of that, it said that she didn't regret it. It'd be done for me. And then in that moment, I saw Will Smith like laughing at the joke and then go up there and do it.
Right.
And so for me personally, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of Jada. So I'm just not a bit like I'm not necessarily like Will Smith or like Chris Rock, like because I understand, but I understand both sides of that. I just don't like Jada. Like I just don't like that.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I mean? Like I don't care about Chris Rock and Will Smith. Like I just don't like Jada. You know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Honest answer. So just to kind of wrap things up, what do you got coming up? What's new? What's happening? What's coming up and exciting in the life of Hugh and Mitch?
Yeah, so
you're like Hannah Montana. I just realized that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So let me see. I think I'm working on some exciting things, which a few of them I can't talk about yet, just because I'm in negotiations. But
yeah, that's fine.
When I can, I totally will. And then the other thing that I started getting into was talking to colleges, like kids, young dudes and girls our age, that the stuff that it's really important to me. Like trading is my passion, but personal finance is also my passion. And so it was really important to me to when like people our age don't really understand credit cards, debit cards, crippling debt,
Right.
stuff of that nature that I really feel that maybe the education system fails us a little bit in. So so I started to do some college speaking events and stuff like that, and
Cool.
getting them on like the books. So that's really cool, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. That's so
Yeah.
so dope. I love that
What
you're
about
giving back like that too.
Yeah. It's like I said, like trading's totally my passion, but that's honestly trading really is. I mean, FinTwit's blown up, but it's still only such a small amount of percentage of people, and trading really is only for a few people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not for everybody, and I understand that. But
Gotcha.
but personal finance, everybody can, in my opinion, can benefit from one way or another.
Got you. Do you want to touch on Roth IRAs at all, or TFSAs in Canada?
Yeah. So TFSAs are really cool. But yeah, I mean, for anyone that has never seen me on Twitter or anything, I'm a huge Roth IRA guy. And the reason that I really like Roth IRAs because one of the big misconceptions about me is that a lot of people feel that I don't like 401ks, and that's not true. I just feel that typically, when you go to sign up for a job or sign up for, you accept the job, you're handed a benefits package, and the first thing on there is typically going to be health and dental, and then it's going to be a 401k. And most people don't understand the difference between a 401k and a Roth IRA, and they just think that they're similar. And the preface is that they are kind of they are the same kind of account, but the difference that for instance, like my parents found out was that a 401k, when they go to withdraw that money, they still have to pay taxes on it. Where a Roth IRA, all of that money that you contribute is tax or is already taxed, so it grows tax free. So there was this big thing last year with Thiel. Thiel had a few $1 billion inside his Roth IRA, and because he had inside his Roth IRA and not his traditional, it saved him like 1.3 billion or something.
Holy
just because he had it inside a different account. And so that's like really obviously exaggerated. And,
Yeah, of course.
And everybody gives the same reaction, like holy shit.
Yeah.
But if the difference, let's just say you have $1 million in your traditional 401k and your tax bracket is still 30%. If you were to go take all of that out at the same time, you'd be paying 30% in taxes. Where a Roth IRA, if you had $1 million in there, it doesn't matter what your tax bracket is, you could be inside the 45% tax bracket. Then, that comes out at when you withdraw that, all of that money is yours.
Gotcha. No, that's super cool, and I think super important to realize and kind of invest in those. Even if you set up just take some money in your account every week. It doesn't have to be a lot, just some sort of contribution,
Exactly.
right?
And they don't even, and so they don't even to put in perspective, like they really don't even allow you to contribute a large amount of money to the Roth IRA or really to any big retirement account. So when I think about it like that, like the $200-300 a month can really make the difference, especially if you're around our age.
It's the Rated in Chess asking, so then is there a major advantage to a backdoor Roth mitigating the risk of future tax increases?
Yeah, so that's definitely like a big thing. One of the big things that I get is that will taxes be higher later? Be higher now. And to be honest, I never know I have no idea.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean I have no idea.
That's
I mean
fair.
there's definitely smarter people out there that can probably give pretty smart answers to this.
Mhm.
But to me, the way that I look at it is like I can get it out of the way now. And not worry about it inside the future. And again, like I'm not against 401ks. I'm not. In fact, I think it's important to have both for most people. But I just think that it's also important to put awareness out there about the Roth.
Yeah, 100%, man. And thank you for doing that. I thought we'd touch on that because you're such a big pusher.
I appreciate it, bro.
No, of course. You asked about me and what's coming up. So basically, my next big thing is at the end of this week, I have to move out of this apartment, and I'm moving into a 2-bedroom. So I'm going to have a whole room dedicated for this office. So I'm going to put some crazy shit in the background, and that's kind of my next big step. And then in the beginning of April, I'm gonna take a stab at one of those 1K account challenges. I'm gonna take a stab
Dude,
at one of
awesome.
those and see how that goes. But
Dude, that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to watch.
no, 100%, man. Yeah, so I think that's kind of it for me. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. I totally appreciate it. You know, maybe we'll do some sort of live event or something again soon. Maybe we can do like a trivia night or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude, I love trivia. That'd be so cool.
You want to host a trivia night with me?
Dude, I would love to. I literally love trivia. In fact, my roommate used to host trivia in college. So
No, he can help with the questions.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He eats that shit up. He loves it.
Yo, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, bro, for coming on. I appreciate it. Keep up the hard work, man. It's obviously paying off. You're doing great stuff, putting in a lot of great material for people to, just help people better themselves and better their lives and getting that kind of positive mindset. So truly appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for coming on the show and kind of reaching out and all that great stuff. I appreciate it, man.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I'm really honored, and it's always so much fun.
Yeah, of course, man. All right, have a great night, and yeah, we'll see you next time at trivia night.
See you, bro.
All right, later. All right, guys, how was that? Hugh Henny. All right, you guys can. Oh shit! I just realized my my screen is messed up. Hang on. Give me a second here. Was that dope or what? There we go. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Tremendous interview. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys like that. This interview will be available on Twitch under videos as soon as this is over. So definitely check that out, guys. I don't know if I will have another stream at this apartment. This might be the last stream. I might do one more tomorrow to kind of celebrate the end of this apartment with you guys and the end of the the end of this era, right? And we're moving to another location, and I'm gonna have a whole new background. It's gonna be a lot bigger. Gonna be really, really cool, guys. So I'll actually be streaming from my parents' place for April. So you guys get to see my dogs. Let's go. That's awesome. Did you complete your 1K to 1 mil challenge yet? No, so I'm starting that in April. I'm going to restart it and do college stuff on Twitter. Bro, you probably just changed my life by asking that question, like, for real? I got you, bro. You know I got you. Yes, sir, Jonah. Dude, you're going to make it. We're all going to make it. I wanted to ask it in a way where, like, I wasn't, I wanted to make you look good, Jonah. I didn't want to make him think, this guy's going to come to my house, I got you. Yes, sir. I completed a 1K to 0 challenge in January. Yo, we've all done one of those. Hell yeah. Getting that experience in. Hey, listen, guys. I'm going to hop off here shortly. Let me just pop on my favorite song to end the stream. You guys already know what it is. We got Jason by the Midnight here. Have a great night, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. Oh, it's actually... What is wrong with my Spotify? What the heck, dude? My Spotify's frozen. Hang on, give me a sec. I was about to make the perfect exit to the stream, and it's messed up. Give me a second. Dude, what is happening? Okay, hang on. Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. Okay, Spotify was glitching out there. Hang on. I got you. I'm just gonna keep saying that until I get the song up. Okay, there it is. Jason by the Midnight. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, guys, have a great night. Hugh and Dan do a great job with it. If you haven't already, go check out Penny's Going Raw. Yeah, 100%. Go check out Penny's Going Raw. It is on Spotify. Please check it out. Great show. It's a lot of fun. Everyone have a great night. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hey, let's change our lives. Okay, let's do some shots. Yeah, baby. Maybe not tonight. I do have to do. I'm going to like a work thing, but it's virtual. It's virtual. So I have like an online course thing I'm going to do tomorrow. So have a great night, guys. I love and appreciate you. 100.